behind you. Tell me a little bit about where you're tuning into
Absolutely.
the broadcast here from.
So I'm currently in my esports room here at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. Here on this side, we have, well, actually, they're both Smash trophies, Super Smash Bros. Trophies from 2019. The main league we play in is called ECAC. Uh, they won that in 2019. So that's what both of the trophies on my side are. And then this big one behind me is actually
Ooh,
a Fortnite trophy. Me, one of my Rocket League teammates, and one of our Valorant teammates played in a Fortnite LAN in Baton Rouge back in May, and we actually won that. That's what this is from. So, yeah.
that's pretty awesome. Well, we'll talk more about the esports program and everything that you guys have been experiencing so far at ULL, but we also got to talk about the event that is going on today. This is the Holiday Cup for Louisiana Soccer Association's esports division. And if you don't know what the LSA is, or LSA Esports, LSA Esports opens new opportunities for our members to enjoy soccer through video games. Esports LSA, alongside with Isoga, are able to provide virtual soccer experiences that extend off the field and further complement, not replace, their existing programs. We'll talk more about that and also some more fun facts about University of Louisiana at Lafayette. But we also got to mention the teams that we have today. We have 3 matches going on in the semifinals into the finals, all best of 3, 2v2 matches as well. Gavin Carries versus Craze Cars for our first matchup here. And then the second semifinal you can see down there, Flying Eagles versus Untouchables. Well, one team has been untouchable for the most part here, lost, and it has been Gavin Carries. I mean, tell me about the results they've been putting up so far against these teams.
So looking at the score entries, Gavin Carries versus Crazed Cars in the round robin, they actually 10-0'd Crazed Cars. So
Oof.
we're gonna have to keep an eye on Drift specifically in Gavin Carries.
The way that they've been performing probably is Gavin themselves, the way that they have been
Yes.
showcasing their skill today. I mean, 9 goals in one of those games for their team. Looking at the way that they were able to pop off for their squad, 29 was the total amount of goals that they had per the games that they were able to play. So 10, 9, then 10 was the amount of goals we saw from them. The next highest was the Flying Eagles at 19. So some stiff competition out there today. We have a Champ 3, I believe, in drifts from when we looked it up, and then at least a Diamond there on that roster as well. So some pretty skilled players performing here for the LSA Esports Holiday Cup that we have going on today on this lovely Sunday. But we do got to get into this matchup pretty soon, and we'll be getting that underway in just a moment. But Lost, I mean, tell me a little bit about the program and what people who might be looking to go to college in Louisiana can expect if they want to get more into the esports side of things over there.
So here at the University of Louisiana Lafayette, well, in Louisiana specifically, esports isn't too big, so we're kind of trying to incorporate it into our university a lot and grow esports in Louisiana specifically. A couple facts about our school: we have 15 teams: Rocket League, Valorant, Overwatch, Super Smash, Fortnite, all kinds of different games, COD, Apex, and yeah, we're trying to incorporate scholarships to have incoming players.
Awesome.
We're always open to new players, and yeah.
Well, it's good to hear that there's all those different programs for people who might be interested in pursuing esports a bit further in their education journey. But we also have to further our journey through the bracket here, as we do have the matchup ready for our first semifinal. Gavin Carries versus Craze Cars. We talked about it. They played before during the round robin. It was a 10-0. Facing off against Drifts and Spectre Be Real for Gavin Carries. And Spectre Be Real, typically more of the supporting player, but I also like how Lucas rocking the battle bus and a Merc on the other side for Craze Cars. They're representing their name pretty well here, Lost.
Yeah, this is definitely a very interesting choice of cars, to say the least. We're gonna have to see how Drifts is on offense, and it looks like he's scoring the first goal.
Yeah, looking pretty good for their team. Right into the air with the aerial, carries that forward. Spectre Be Real trying to go for a pinch shot. I mean, they are looking to put on the highlight showcase here in this first game. And this being a best of 3, it's first to 2 wins. Based on what we've seen so far during the bracket, Gavin Carey is looking to sweep their way into those finals and showcase their skill throughout the rest of this tournament. But Drifts, really the one to look out for with the way that they've been performing thus far, putting on a showcase of skill to pay the bills here, Lost.
Absolutely. Seems to be the powerhouse on offense.
Just a great follow-up there.
Slotting
defense trying their best too. Yeah, sliding that second goal, making sure that they can keep that pressure up right after the first one and doing the best that they can to strengthen that lead early on into this game. Because once they get a decent enough lead, based on what we've seen from them so far during the group stage, they can really just have fun with it, try to score some crazy goals, get some highlight clips here and there, and maybe put a montage together later on, Lost. And speaking of Lost,
Absolutely.
I mean, you're a player from the Rocket League team out of ULL. What would you really give advice-wise to any of these players who are looking to improve their game as they progress through their Rocket League journey?
I would say the main tip I have for any players trying to get better is, as niche as it sounds, practice makes perfect.
That's exactly
There's really
true.
no other way to put it in Rocket League. Putting in time is the key.
Well, that's what we've seen
no
so far from
sandstone.
Crazy Cars there. I mean, they were able to wait for their moment to shine. Dads was able to carry that on the roof of their car, put it through. You can tell that they would have had to practice that maneuver a couple of times to get used to dribbling in that fashion. Nice to see that there's some different mechanics that are coming out here from Crazy Cars to keep it competitive. They got their first goal against Gavin Carries. They weren't able to do that last time, so already looking a bit better, a bit more confident. And tell me a little bit about the difference between 2s and 3s for those who might not be as familiar with the game of Rocket League.
So for 3v3, it's a lot more important to preserve boost. Boost management is a lot more important in 3v3. Typically a more passive playstyle, I would say, in my opinion. That's how I play 3s. 2s is usually a showcase of mechanics. So if you're very mechanical, 2s is, in my opinion, the main mode to go with.
I mean, that's what we're kind of seeing between both Drifts and
Absolutely.
Dads here, because the way that we're seeing Dads go for these dribbles is immaculate thus far. One-on-one in
Absolutely,
plays,
yeah.
you can tell that both those players are kind of the captains, the leaders of scoring for their team, but Drifts, again, off these kickoffs. And is there a specific strategy you typically have when you go for these kickoff plays?
For me, in 2v2, no. Just cheat and play reactive.
Kind of the best way to do it. Make sure that your opponents can't predict your gameplay as you're going for those attacks right off the kickoff, and hopefully that your teammate's there to back you up. Unfortunately, in 2s, you don't have a third player to rotate around if you're out of position, so kickoff goals can happen a lot more easily, and demos finally coming out here too to give some breathing room to Crazy Cars for at least a moment. But Gavin Carey's able to get back into the driver's seat on the orange half, looking pretty confident for the most part, but a lot more competitive a game than we kind of expected here, Lost.
Absolutely, and one thing to point out is in 2v2 specifically, you don't want to have a set play style. You want to play you want to kind of adapt to the other team. So it seems like both teams are actually doing a very good job at that.
Especially with the counterattack here from Drifts. Notice that both players were pushed up past the midfield line and that there wasn't really a chance for Lucas to get back in time. So would be Gavin Carey's getting the lead strengthened yet again, making it a bit of a gap. 2 goals here, centered perfectly again too.
Seems to be open.
Yeah, I was about to say, it seems to be like the defensive rotations is really what Crazy Cars needs to work on the most, but that's just an unfortunate challenge too from Dads.
Absolutely. Seems he just couldn't get possession, give it away, and leads to a goal.
Happens to the best of them out there. Even the pro players that have been playing for tens of thousands of hours make certain mistakes of that kind. But really, when you're going for a challenge and you aren't quite prepared for it, it's not too much of a mistake. I feel like it was more of an outplay by the other side. Gavin Carries and the way that they've been performing so far. These follow-throughs by Drifts, super consistent, already 5 goals to their name.
He is showing that he is super mechanical and consistent at that. Very consistent follow-throughs.
That's what you want to see from these players. Make sure you got that consistency, keep those follow-throughs going, and keep the goal scoring going up. And 6-2, looking for 7, couldn't get it just yet. Does leave an open opportunity for the defense of Crazy Cars to potentially get this one aside, but Drifts now taking more time, being more careful, not overextending themselves like we kind of saw a couple times before. Lucas looking for those connections in the air as well, but Drifts with a center off the ceiling. Would have been a nice goal if they could have completed it.
Dadboz is on the ball. Looks like Drift might have possession. Good save by Drifts. Spectre hits it out to Lucas. Just can't quite keep possession.
Yeah, can't keep that possession. Doing the best that they can on offense for Crazy Cars. And everything necessary here for their team. Another potential goal for Gavin Carries on this one. Less than a minute remains, though. 4 goals between these two teams. I mean, solid performance from Crazy Cars for the most part. What would you say we need to see change-up-wise in their play style to improve in this next game here, Lost?
What I'm seeing is rotations on defense is their main problem right now. Be on defense a lot more. I feel like they're playing a lot too aggressive.
No worries. That time we did see another great shot from Gavin Carries, and I feel like this amount of goals that go in at this point kind of a moot point. So one thing we can talk about, though, tell me a little bit more about the campus life and different aspects of the University of Louisiana Lafayette for those who might not be familiar with the university.
Yeah, so here at the Louisiana Lafayette, we have a total of 1,300 acres, so a lot of space to fit many fast food restaurants, areas to eat. We have Taco Bell, Starbucks, McAllister's, a lot of places to eat. Area in the middle of campus called the Quadrangle is one of the main places to meet with other students and just socialize, meet new friends. Our main stadium that we play games in is the Cajun Dome. So
cool.
Here on the screen you see Cajun Dome is a 12,800 seat multi-purpose stadium. So that's where we play a lot of our matches.
Wow, a lot of great information about the campus.
Was completed in 2015.
Okay, so, cool.
Yeah,
great information about the campus. We'll talk more about the academics and every other aspect of the campus in just a bit, but we got to talk a bit more about the match that we just saw there as well. The first game, pretty decently one-sided from what we saw from Gavin Carries, but hey, at the start of it, and for half of it at least, Crazy Cars were able to keep it super competitive. They got those 2 goals. The dribbling was looking good. You mentioned it, Lost. Really just the defensive rotations. You need to see those cleaned up a bit. Are there any specific training packs? I know you said practice makes perfect, but as far as defense goes, it seems to not really be a priority for a lot of players at the lower ranks of Rocket League.
For defense, yeah, there are training packs that are specifically for defense, and I would focus on those a lot, actually. People seem to underestimate the importance of defense.
True.
A lot of the time I see they focus on offense a lot, and people underestimate the importance of defense, like I said. So, yeah.
Well, definitely something, depending on how well your team does during this event. If you went out earlier, if you're playing in these semifinals, to focus on shoring up all those weaknesses that you might have in your gameplay. It's always good to save the replays, review them later on, see what you could have improved upon from then on out. But a lot of it comes down to getting that experience, playing the game, and having a good time with your teammates too. And Drifts trying to do the best that they can here. Spectre, Be Real, really just being that supporting player for them too, because Drifts also wouldn't be able to do this all on their own if they didn't have that second teammate to give them the confidence to go forward for these plays and not have to worry about these counterattacks.
Absolutely. Drift seems to be the main powerhouse of the offense, but without that second man as backup, really can't do much, even in a 2v1.
That's what we've seen happen a couple of times here for Craze Cars, doing the best that they can, but again, extending a bit too far forward.
Net. He's still goal.
Yeah. Great challenge too from Spectre to get that centered for drifts. We just needed to finish on the rotation back. Dad's doing all that they could to get that down the field too, and that's the longest amount of time we've gone in that first minute without Gavin Carries getting that opening goal. So good look from them so far. They got to do a little bit more than that to try and force a Game 3 situation. I like the center again from Dads. Still not enough. They do get the demo though, so it might open up some room. If it wasn't drifts on the other side of the field, could have led to a potential goal.
Just seems to have possession. Might go up for a dribble. Good 50 by Dads.
Nice touch.
Good beat
there
by Juris.
Center 2. Oh, almost
Spectral
able to get it in.
is up. Good save though.
So close, yet so far, but as you mentioned it, great save that we saw from Craze Cars, working on that defense, but when Drifts is in the air and above the competition, it's hard to stop them, as you can see happen yet again from the corner, right over top of Lucas and into the back of the net at time. 2-0 here for Gavin Carries. And that might be the scoreline for the series for our first semifinal too, as we have been going through the motions for Gavin Carries in game 1 and 2. Craze Cars still doing the best they can, keeping things close and competitive as much as they can. A demo comes out though, and that leaves it wide open for Drifts on the dribble, or on the air dribble.
Yeah, he gets that flip reset and gets it in net for a third goal.
These nice touches here and there. And I believe we said that they were Champ 3. Is this typical of the Champ 3 gameplay that we have seen from Gavin Carries out of Drifts? I know we saw someone who had like a Grand Champ title at one point in time in the bracket too, but it seems like Drifts might be the MVP performance we've witnessed so far.
Absolutely, and if you notice, Spectre has 0 shots and Drifts has 6, so that just goes to show how much offensive pressure that Drifts is putting on.
Great performance to say the least, but also Craze Cars.
Absolutely.
I mean, we talked about how they were performing against Gavin Carries last time they played. There's 10-0. Much more competitive this game too, even though they haven't gotten a goal just yet. 3-0 at the halfway point against a player like Drifts. Very difficult to do, and even having some good opportunities of their own. Some good dribbles here, and again, another goal coming through. They made them own goal.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Some might say that's a Merc 50 right there. Good 50 by Dads right there.
Solid challenge. Just waited for it to be scored too. Didn't need to put extra pressure on it. Ran on a boost and said, "Here, you put it into the net for me." And that's exactly what happened at that point in time.
Absolutely.
At the halfway point of this game, though, I mean, 2-goal comeback. It is possible. But Spectre, with this extra pressure, I'm liking the way that they're taking initiative off the kickoffs.
To cut off Drifts is going to be a hard thing to do, but I feel like that's what they need to do if they want to make this two-goal comeback.
Go for demos. You almost saw Lucas able to get one too. Would have been a good heads-up play. Beautiful defense so far, and the counterattack's working out pretty well. Craze Cars turning things up a notch as best they can. It's a stellar semifinal to start things off for the LSA Esports Holiday Cup. We hope to see even more stellar competition as things develop. It's also dope about LSA Esports. It gives our soccer players a chance to play with other soccer players across the state. And a great way to make new friends if you are interested in getting involved with that. But the fall season just finished for the recreational side across the state, and Drifts just finished another goal here. Unfortunate, the pinch came through, but Drifts was ready for it at the midfield for the counterattack.
Yeah, it's looking pretty promising for them to complete the second game, make it a 2-0 series.
That it is. 3-goal lead for Gavin Carries, looking strong so far. Drifts with a great shot off the sidewall there. Lucas looking for something too, but as you mentioned, great read by Dad defensively, and I'm liking the challenges that they're getting so far on this side.
But if they want to make this 3-goal comeback, they need to put some more offensive pressure.
Feels like it's so hard to do, though. As you mentioned, boost so important in this game. And that's been stolen every time by Drifts because they've had to use it so much, going for those aerial plays. You see Spectre going for one here, too. They're just playing keep away at this point, and it's working out well enough. And, oh, the counterattack
could lead to a fifth goal. Good finish by Drifts for fifth goal.
Beautiful look there on these counterattacks. And that's the biggest difference, I'd say, in this game compared to the last one lost, is that Gavin Carey's focusing on the counterattacks more so than those individual passing plays we saw before.
Yeah, it seems like they're still playing aggressive, but they're playing a lot more reactive against the other team.
Trying to hold on
and
to their
it is a
lead.
lot closer scoreline than what we saw in the round robin 10-0. Both these games are a lot closer, but they just can't seem to get enough offensive pressure.
Unfortunately, has not proven to be just enough for their team there, but 20 seconds left on the clock. Gavin Carey's seem to be able to carry themselves into those finals. That'll be happening after the second semifinal that is up next. 6-1, looking for a sunny trip to Brazil if they can make it there in the next 15 seconds. Do you think they can, Lost?
I believe they can. I believe they'll possibly get a kickoff bar here. I think they will get the Brazil.
We'll have to see if it happens here.
Especially if Drifts has possession right here.
Got possession.
Do.
Oh, it got denied by the defense for a second, but there's still a chance in the air. Less than 5 seconds to go. Does go the other direction. So it seems like it might be denied. They try to keep it up as best they can, but they can't. Instead, it will hit the ground. Gavin Carey's able to get the victory, 2-0. Drifts with, I think, over 10 goals throughout both of those games, and a great look from Gavin Carey's. But Crazy Cars, hey, we talked about it going into this. Their objective was to get a goal. From what we saw in the round-robin group stage, they weren't able to. They look so much more confident during that, and they can pat themselves on the back, say they put in a good performance, and if they were on the other side of the bracket, they might have been able to make it to the finals, but unfortunately, they had to face off against this team based on the way the round-robin play went. But Gavin Carey's make their way into those finals, and what a great first matchup we had here, Lost.
Yeah, Drifts was looking really solid that entire series, so I'm curious to see what they're going to look like later.
Well, we'll have more talking points about LSA and University of Louisiana at Lafayette.
Just a midnight love affair. We get together and go nowhere. I really like to tell the world we care, but we just another late night love.
Welcome back, everyone, to the LSA Esports Holiday Cup. I am Vaudable, and joining me yet again is Loss from Raging Cajuns Esports out of University of Louisiana at Lafayette. And talking about the university there, Lost, tell me a little bit about the academics, what people can kind of expect, and from some of the stats that are out there for this university.
Yeah, so I actually have a list right here of a couple of points to make about academics. I'll just go over a couple. 100% of all undergraduate programs over here at this university are eligible for accreditation by professional agencies.
That's awesome.
We have more than 80 majors, 30 graduate programs. So, for example, I'm a biology major. There's a website online with a huge list of majors that we have. We have about 300 students that graduated this past semester. 3,000 graduates. The Carnegie Foundation has designated UL Lafayette as a research university. This prestigious classification places us among the top 137 research universities. So we are one of the top universities in the country. And yeah, that's about it.
Some great information about the university over there, but we do have the final that is actually coming up ahead of us. One of the teams, unfortunately, couldn't have their player show up for the semifinals, so there was an automatic win granted to the Flying Eagles that we have here, Dark and Pumps, facing off against Drifts and Spectre Be Real. And I believe the Flying Eagles were the team that was able to get the second placement throughout that round-robin stage. They were able to get 19 goals compared to the 29 that we saw from Gavin Carey. So still pretty good performance from them for the most part. Decently competitive matches between these two teams based on the time that they played, but it's a whole different story. Another best three between both of these rosters. We saw how good Gavin Carey's were before. Now the question is, can Flying Eagles soar high enough above the competition, take down Gavin Carey's? Drifts, the one to look out for. Spectre Be Real, the setup player, but this time, YT7 Pumps, or Pumps as we were talking about before, they're the one to strike first.
Yeah, they get the first goal here. Looking at the score reports, Gavin Carey's actually 10-1 them in round robin, so we're gonna have to keep an eye out for that as another blowout.
Seems teams weren't as prepared against Gavin Carey's, but they reviewed the footage from the replays when they played before. And then you can see there already Pumps getting that first goal. Pretty spectacular start. First time, at least on stream, that we've seen anyone get the opening goal against Gavin Carey. So good change for them. The biggest thing we mentioned before, Loss, for these teams to look out for defense on those rotations. That's the big thing to improve upon.
Absolutely, and on the side of Flying Eagles with Drifts on the ball, they're going to have to play spectacular defense if they want to keep it to a low-scoring game.
Great looks here and there between the teams thus far, but Gavin Carey, this is the longest amount of time that they've been down at all throughout their series today. They've had majority of the goals for them. 10 was the minimum that they got leading into the bracket phase, but we saw they were able to get 6 before in the final game of the last series and 7 before that, so still doing pretty good for themselves as it goes into the later stages of the tournament. I'm also liking this strategy from Flying Eagles. They have Dark kind of playing more of a goalie role, and then they have Pumps be that main striking force for the team so that they at least have someone in position regardless of where the ball goes.
Yeah, looking at the score report again, 10-1 before, perhaps Flying Eagles maybe developed a game plan to keep the goals down. They're playing a lot more solid, it seems like.
Especially getting those demos, playing more defensive, making sure that they can hold on to this lead is the best strategy we've seen so far against Gavin Carey's, and now they're kind of struggling a little bit because they are bumping into each other, facing the pressure of Pumps, the way that they are performing, maybe tripping over each other a little bit too much as they weren't quite expecting this much resistance so far in the opening 2 minutes, but it's Drifts. If you aren't going to meet them in the air, well, the ball's going to meet the back of your net pretty soon.
Absolutely. And it seems like Gavin Carey's, although they do score, is having a really tough time making offensive pressure. So that's one thing to note.
That's very true. Took them some time to really get things going for that first shot, but Drifts again noticing that they can just go up and around the competition. That's exactly what they're going to do. Wait out the defense, They weren't ready for the shot as it came right past them. A good defensive effort from Pumps, but fortunately Dark flew right past it. Didn't expect the slow shot from Drifts on that play to go through.
And it seems both teams faked this. Spectre in possession. Dark is on the ball, gonna flick it to Drifts. To Pumps. Looks like Gavin Carries is playing a lot more offensive now, a lot more aggressive, so seems to be giving them a lot more pressure there.
That they are. Like to see the performance from them so far. Kind of gotten a read of their opponents, and now they know.
Third goal.
That's the first goal, I think, since game 1, too, that we've seen from Spectre of that last series. So nice to see them get involved. It's kind of teed up by Drifts as well, putting that one through, and pressure just mounting for Gavin Carries. What do Flying Eagles need to change here, Lost?
At first, it was they were playing a lot more defensive, and well, Dark was playing a lot more aggressive, and then Pumps was playing that defensive role, and it seems like Spectre just put in a 4th goal.
They did. Another goal going through. Drifts with the setup, and Spectre getting more involved, and I think that was the game plan change that they need to realize that it can't be just Drifts going for the plays, because if they target Drifts, then their whole plan is ruined on offense. The Spectre being more involved there, helping out a lot, but Drifts slowing things down in the air, trying to bait out Pumps. I like the initiative, just wasn't enough yet.
If their plan is to possibly try to 1v2 them, 1v2 Drifts in the air, since he's so mechanical, then that could put him out to play, and then that could lead to a goal by Spectre even. But they do still have to keep an eye on Spectre. And that's a pass by Spectre to Drifts for the 5th goal.
5th goal, confident lead. Feel like the rest of the goals they'll come through likely from Gavin Carries will secure the victory in this first game with a minute and 36 seconds remaining. So let me talk a little bit more about LSA and the esports side of things, but also if you want to get involved with LSA, they represent over 46 clubs across the state of Louisiana for soccer. You can find a club near you at playlouisianasoccer.org. Call 225-766-0577 to get involved there as well. Recreational soccer, great way for kids to start out playing soccer. When they get older and want to play more, then they can join an academy program and move up and play on a classic team. Those are kind of the 3 different tiers that LSA have for registration for soccer. And well, Spectre registering at this ball yet again in a hat trick for themselves. For Gavin Carries, looking pretty good for both players so far, working in tandem to secure this victory here, Lost.
Yeah, and you see the number of shots again. Drifts, I believe, has 6, and Spectre has 5. I saw Dark has 0, I think. So you can just see by the number of shots, the amount of pressure that Gavin Carries is putting on.
Great look so far from both of these teams, with Gavin Carries after the opening goal from Flying Eagles changed up their strategy and fix the issues that we saw before to secure their victory in this first game. When it comes to like different matches that you've had in the past as well, do you guys have a specific coach that goes over like replays and make sure that you can work on different things that we might have struggled on during those matchups?
So actually here at the University of Louisiana, we actually don't have a coach as of now, so it's kind of just us doing our own replay reviews as a team, us 3.
Okay, cool.
So
guys, take the initiative, making sure you can do it.
We do take time to focus on what we do wrong, though, as a team. We don't have that, per se, quote-unquote, coach role, but we do that as a team, collectively.
Making sure you can support each other as best as possible. As we're seeing the players support each other here is so important. I'm curious on what like the practice regimen is. Like, do you guys kind of go into the facility, work together on different scrims throughout your collegiate season, or how does that kind of work out?
Yeah, so we have a lot of connections in we mainly use Discord. We have a lot of connections with other colleges, so we scrim a lot of other colleges as a practice for CRL. That's the main league we play in. So
awesome. Well, it's cool to hear the kind of inner workings on how things are going at Raging Cajuns Esports over there. But the inner workings right now for the series is Gavin Carries doing what they do best, getting so many goals that the other team can't compete. You don't have to worry about defense too much when you are always on offense, scoring back to back to back. Both players having a hat trick for both Drifts and a Spectre Be Real. But hey, a great opening goal for Flying Eagles. A lot closer than we saw during the round robin. If they can hold on even longer than they did in that last game, get an opening goal again, they'll be looking at that much better. But they did it for 2 minutes, couldn't do it for too much longer after that. It's hard to do that in a 5-minute series. I mean, we've seen teams be able to hold out for that amount of time, but are there any specific strategies you would say to even more so confidently keep that lead for the next game if Flying Eagles can get it lost?
That was actually the next point I was going to bring up. Is the main thing, in my opinion, is keeping your mental in a good mindset. Keeping a good mindset. They got the first goal lead. If you have a good mental, even losing game 1, if you keep that mental high and good and strong, they can take game 2 here.
We'll have to see as we get into game 2, potentially the final game of the LSA Esports Holiday Cup. Gavin Carries looking for the sweep through the bracket. Haven't dropped a single game up to this point in time. Dominant performances, 6-goal minimum from every game thus far. Looking to be your champions at the end of the day, but they got to get these goals and prevent the first one going in from Flying Eagles. And, well, it goes the other direction on the counterattack. So close, though, to getting the save was Pumps on the just journey back to their side.
Yeah, very quick counterattack there by Gavin Carries. Good follow through.
It's unfortunate for the Flying Eagles. They kind of felt like they had to put their all from the get-go to overwhelm Gavin Carries like they did in that first goal in the last game, get on the board. But now it's a different story. Drifts really just can keep this up and away from the other side, and they'd be able to likely get a victory. So gotta keep an eye on those defensive rotations and change things up a little bit more for the Flying Eagles on defense this time. But a lot of it too, not overextending. You talked about the mentality. How do you keep the mental in the right spot as you're facing off against tough opponents?
So for my school games, for example, whenever the other team scores a goal, I try to keep that mental coach kind of role for my team and be like, hey guys, it's okay. Don't worry, we're only down a goal or 2. It's really, the mental is the main thing. If you keep your mental good and strong, you could take out any team, in my opinion.
Hopefully, Flying Eagles can slay the Giants that are Gavin Carriers in this matchup by keeping the mental positive as best as they can. Dark was doing pretty good defensively, and again, on the counterattack. Couldn't get to it, though, quick enough for the finish, but great defensive efforts we witnessed in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, good recoveries by Spectre to get back to that save. I actually thought that was going to lead to a goal by Flying Eagles.
So close. Just didn't really have enough boost to work with. Pumps almost able to get one there, but the demo came out onto Drifts. Saved the day, said get down, Mr. President, as it almost went through the goal. Was able to get that one away. Drifts looking pretty confident themselves. And another counterattack, though, just barely off the mark. I'm loving these looks from Flying Eagles so far.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of offensive opportunities, but they just can't seem to secure any of them. Gavin Carries is very consistent with the recoveries. Having trouble putting the goals in.
Well,
just in the air
8 minutes remaining now. Ooh. Oh no!
Oh, that's barely in. Good aerial by Drifts.
That's gotta hurt.
It's the flip reset.
That's the second time we've seen a very similar goal from Drifts that time too. Pumps almost able to get the save. Had the read on the play, just not the angle for the 50-50 in the air on that initiative. Kickoff though, working out pretty well for Dark. Got some boost. Couldn't hold on to the ball though. Bumped his teammate along, or their teammate along the way. So we do need it to see Flying Eagles get 3 goals at this point. Come back and force a game 3 against Gavin Carries. They've had some good initiatives. Look pretty solid on the rotations, but they got to be careful not to be baited out by Drifts on these plays yet again, and still can't get the finish. How did that not go in?
Wow. And it seems like if Flying Eagles want a chance, they have to minimize the goals, they have to pre-jump drifts in the air. He's very deadly in the air.
Especially the way that they've been performing so far and almost able to get it through. How did that not
They're getting
go in
so
off
many
the
close
crossbar?
attempts. Wow.
This is an
Another
amazing
chance by
performance from
Flying
Flying Eagles, but it's not enough for them to get it yet, Lost. I mean, what's not working? Is it just the defense of Gavin Carey's being too strong?
Some might say some of these are just unlucky, but the recoveries by Gavin Carey's is on point right now as well. They just can't seem to secure one of the goals.
Oh, drifts again, stopping the counterattack in its tracks. Would have been another shot from Pumps directly towards the net. And Spectre looking pretty good too on these defensive plays as well. Keep it away from Flying Eagles. They've got the lead that they need anyway. They are facing the music here and there. Counterattack coming out strong. Spectre almost able to put it through. Oh, if there was a better read on that play, could have been saved, but drifts with the ball through.
A good cut by Spectre to get around, who was that, Pumps? Good cut by Spectre for the pass for the fourth goal in.
Crazy work being put in so far. Gavin Carey's a little bit over a minute remaining before they are crowned your champions of the LSA Esports Holiday Cup, but not without Flying Eagles trying a couple more times to get at least a goal through. Pumps had the read, but again denied by drifts in the air, getting it away with a defensive save. And beautiful efforts by both these teams so far. So competitive. But Gavin Carey is still a little bit better on those counterattacks and the air dribbles we've seen so far.
And you hear us time and time again say how deadly Drifts is on offense. He is also making very good saves on the defensive side, which is minimizing the goals by Flying Eagles.
4 goals
He is
on
playing
8
both
shots
roles
with 3
very
saves
well.
too, as you're mentioning, yeah.
Absolutely.
And an assist to their name. MVP performance for this player from what we have seen up to this point in time, but wow. Gavin Carey's proving they are the top dogs in this tournament so far. Flying Eagles, I'd love to see exactly how many shots they have had, because I'm sure the game hasn't even counted all of them based on the pressure that they've been putting on so far. It says only 1 for Dark, but I'd imagine at least a couple more there. Pumps has had 4 shots to their name as well. That's really the most pressure anyone's put against Gavin Carey's today. It was not enough to get a goal just because the defense that much stronger by Gavin Carey's this entire game. Great looks between both these teams, but Gavin Carey's will be the ones to get at least 5 goals each game, maybe 6 to go home. That's exactly what they do here, keeping it consistent with 6 seconds on the clock. Lost.
Absolutely, and you could say looking at the saves is a good indication of how many shots Flying Eagles has, even if it doesn't count all of them. So I see Drifts has 3 saves, so they are saving a lot of shots, even if they aren't counted for Flying Eagles.
That is so true. As time ticks down the last second, Gavin Carey's trying to listen to the first rule of Rocket League. Keep the ball up at 0 seconds as long as they can. Maybe they'll get a 7th goal, but no, it will be denied by Dark. Maybe. Still in the air, though, for Drifts. 1 final shot off the backboard. Almost got the ball through Spectre there as well. But it will finally touch the ground, and Gavin Carey's will be your LSA Esports Holiday Cup champions. What a victory that was from them, but still, gotta give the biggest of shout-outs to Flying Eagles. They put on a showcase for us here, Lost.
Absolutely, but the offensive pressure from Gavin Carey is just with too much for Flying Eagles.
That was unfortunately at the end of the day there. Gavin Carey's carried themselves to victory. Drift doing the best that they can for them, but Spectre Be Real also a great second player for a 2v2 team and a great victory to say the least. So congrats again to Gavin Carey's. Thanks to the rest of the teams who have participated throughout today for the LSA Esports Cup. And Lost, I have one final question for you before we send things away for the day. For anyone who might be looking to get involved in esports in Louisiana, or even maybe look at the Raging Cages esports facility and kind of learn more about campus life over there, where can people go? Where can people find more about Cajuns esports?
So we do have a website online, UL Lafayette Esports. which is not, there's not actually a lot of information on there. We're trying to rework and develop a new website. But the main source of social media we use is Discord, so they could join our Discord server. That would be, I think it's
probably on the Twitter somewhere too, right?
Yeah, our Twitter is, I think, Cajuns Esports. So if you go to that, they could send us a DM asking about any questions y'all have about esports in general, college life, our academics. So, yeah.
Well, there we go. And if you want to learn more about the graduate programs as well, there's academics.louisiana.edu for all the different majors and graduate programs that they have at the university. But if you want to learn more about Play Louisiana, that's playlouisianasoccer.org. If you want to get involved with the Youth Soccer Association there, for Louisiana Soccer Association, get involved there too. Join LSA Esports for more competition if you are also a part of it too. Also want to give a big shout out to LSA, Isoga, Rival, and also Raging Cajuns Esports for making this production a possibility for the LSA Esports Cup. I've been Vaudable. We've had Lost here as well. Thank you everyone for watching, playing, and helping us put on this event. And we'll see you on the next one.
See you guys later.